When our daughter was first diagnosed, it was mind-blowing, something that we weren't expecting. Very stressful time.
When your child is first diagnosed, you have a range of emotions that you sometimes actually kind of feel a bit bad about thinking as well, and it's just to actually find out that that's actually normal.
For us it feels huge because it's completely not what we expected, but for our son, that's his whole life. He's always been deaf.
Our perspective has changed in some ways, but it's all for the better, and it's given our family a really good bond and made us a lot stronger.
Here we are at Living Springs, just out of Christchurch, for a Parent Hui for the parents of deaf children, and the focus is deaf children age 5 and under. We've brought together 60 families of young children who are deaf from all across the country. It's been a fantastic opportunity for parents to hear from each other, their experiences, to hear from people with expertise in deaf education and learning for deaf children, and to answer questions and share information.
From Deaf Aotearoa's perspective and our involvement with the Ministry of Education and the Parents Federation in organising the Hui, our aim has been for parents to feel that they would know where to go. When they have an issue or a question, that they have agencies that they can just call on, and that they see Deaf Aotearoa as a place that they can just walk in off the street, ask a question and know that there's resources and people available that they can access.
I think the focus of the weekend has very much been just getting parents together, to be able to get together and to talk about, you know, what they have in common, what the differences are, getting information from each other, and hopefully going away with some amazing relationships that they can continue on between times.
So over the weekend we've had 3 themes in terms of activities: the interactive workshops, interactive forums, which are larger groups of people, and drop-in wellbeing sessions. We've had interactive workshops operating around movement, reading together, play. So we know that for young children, time with their parents is particularly important in terms of establishing language and relationships. This has just given the parents the opportunity to learn from others around how to do that really well.
I am deaf, and my wife is also deaf, and we have 2 boys, aged 4 and 2. Both of them are hearing. We certainly have music and movement in our household. I love music myself. I might put on a music DVD for my children and I could still be involved. I can dance with them, sign sing with them. Although I am deaf, I can access the songs via the captions. The captions help me be involved in that, and my wife too. It helps us be a part of talking about the music with our children, and we can sign sing with them and dance with them. One really good tip for all parents is to turn on the caption when watching DVDs at home. It really helps the child take in language from both audio and visual sources.
Engaging with your child through stories has a really, really positive impact. It's a nice time you can spend with your child. It's a really nice time that you can reinforce language with your child. Books in general just open up the world to children, and really, if you find a story that links to experiences that the child's had, you're just constantly building on the layers of language that the child's developing.
We did an introduction into NZSL. We had a gathering of parents who hadn't had any exposure to NZSL. The essential thing is to provide language stimulation to the child, whatever form that takes. The priority is for as much exposure as possible. The child can try different things and choose a path that works for them, which is fine. The important thing is to give them the language exposure that their growing brains are craving at that time. Parents sometimes think that their child is not ready for these multiple languages, but we were saying they're absolutely ready for more than one language.
It's been very interesting to see hearing parents with their deaf children. There is a real desire to learn sign language, to be involved with deaf culture and the community, to be part of that.
Working with parents today, discussing the various topics, you could tell that the learning will make a positive impact and benefit their deaf children for the rest of their lives. So it has been extremely valuable. and their enthusiasm for sign language was really lovely to see.
So the second theme has been interactive forums. We've had some really key people, experts in their field, who have been able to provide really useful information for parents. For many parents, it just confirms the approach that they take. For some parents, it'll be new ideas and new things to try.
So the experiences for siblings of deaf children, I took away that I need to spend more one-on-one time with my hearing daughter and not put so much pressure on her being a protector. She needs to still be a child, and just talk to them, I guess, just openly about how they're feeling, because as parents, I guess sometimes we don't do that.
I am a panel member on the Supporting Positive Behaviours workshop. There's a huge amount of issues that come with deaf kids with behaviour management, and a lot of it is to do with communication levels. When children don't have the communication skills, they get very frustrated, they get quite angry and quite disruptive. And it's not that the child is bad, it's that they are finding things very, very hard. I think the thing we found with James especially was that he needed time without his implants on. He needed time that was just silent, that he could process his own thoughts, because he would get very tired. Aided hearing is really exhausting. So we kind of needed to take his cues on that and say, you know what? He just needs quiet. He needs 10 minutes where he can just sit in his own head and play with his cars and just take a breath. And that helped to improve his behaviour, and they're little tips that you learn.
Probably the best session for us was the bilingualism session. For us, we have been bringing up our family to be bilingual.
Having a household that's bilingual actually helps us to communicate clear as a family. So we have 2 children that are hearing, one that's deaf, but it's also teaching the other children to actually communicate with their brother, okay, in various ways. Even as a family, we can sit down and we can sign together at certain things, tell stories by signing. There's things that he misses out, so by using sign, he's able to pick those things up. And I think sometimes he's a wee bit frustrated, so because his spoken language isn't perfect, he's actually been able to adapt his language by using sign to express himself. So we've had to learn that as well, and it's helped him to be more accepted too, I think, in that family arrangement. For me personally, it's actually been one of the hardest journeys I've actually been on. It gets to the point for me, learning sign language, after an hour, my brain just goes dead, absolutely dead. Together we're about level 2 in sign language, but what we've done with our child is we've tried to always stay up with about his age group, not thinking, I've got to get to level 20, because that's not the reason for learning sign language. It's actually learning, for me personally, it's for learning to communicate with my son.
From this session, we'll take away the fact that you can do it, you can bring both NZSL and spoken English, and they will be mutually beneficial.
The ways to get around not being able to find, for example, community classes that suit a child or families with children, and ways to get around that. So there was one family that decided that they would have a tutor come to their home, and then other families would come and join them, and so that they could learn in an environment that was suitable, and what they were learning was catered directly to the families and children. So that sounded like a really good idea.
Just to share with you, you can also go back and talk to your advisor on deaf children, and they can arrange the first signs class. They come to your place, they come over on the weekends, in the evenings, they come according to what suits you best, and yeah, they come to your home. You can invite your friends, your preschool teachers to your place, and you all can learn together, which is great. Yeah.
I think my summary for transitioning into school is that the parents are, I've heard it said, they're team leader, and you have to be. You have to be that constant presence. You can't ever step back and think that somebody else will do it, because nobody knows your child like you do. So when you have school visits, make sure that everybody's involved, everybody knows. The school visit's like a sort of taste test for going into school, and that's where your child will make their opinions known on whether they like school, whether they think school's going to be great, or whether this transition's going to be painful and hideous and awful.
I hope that it's opened people's minds. Both parents, teachers, I hope they have opened their minds. If you look back to how things have been for young deaf people, they have often had a really difficult time. I think I can see people being more accepting and open-minded, more understanding and wanting to be involved more, and wanting to learn NZSL. So parents getting together, which also means the children can spend time together, is a good thing.
The third theme is wellbeing. That was the opportunity for parents to drop in, ask some questions that they didn't want to ask in the bigger forums, to say what they're thinking and to get some feedback around that.
Big tip for all parents is to just find out information, find out who you can go to, meet other people, and from there, you know, you're going to meet other people and they're going to know things and you're going to find your own wee niche.
Tips I would have for parents going through a similar situation is ask for help when needed. Don't be afraid to ask dumb questions. At least then you'll have some peace of mind that you're doing all you can for your child or children. Always encourage them, support them, and make sure they know it's okay to be different. No two people are exactly the same in every way, deaf or hearing.
The Hearing House has been absolutely incredible, and we could not be more grateful for the support that they have provided us. When we finally managed to go to the Hearing House, just everything was our minds were put at ease, that there were people there that were there to help us.
I really recommend that you try and find those support networks for yourselves, even if you have to end up starting them, but there's lots of groups, even on Facebook, that are wealth of knowledge and information sharing, and you can kind of have as a little or a lot.
Just keep phoning people and nagging people, and as somebody said to me, you know, just to be that parent who you don't want to be but that you're going to have to be, because you're not going to get what your child's not going to get what they need if you don't do that.
Go with what fits for you as a family, what's in your heart. You can be told lots of things by lots of people, but do what feels right for you and what feels right for your family.
One important understanding from the weekend was that often the first deaf person that a parent of a deaf baby meets is their own deaf baby. They have millions of questions and are uncertain about what to do. What should their dreams be for their baby's future? What can their child do? What can they do to help? And so on. Coming to the Parent Hui was one of the rare opportunities for parents to meet a deaf person and to see what deaf adults can achieve. They can do this, they can do that. This means the parents can be more confident in knowing what their child can do. Their child can grow up healthy and happy. As a parent, you need to teach, to sign, to speak. Get involved with them and stay focused on the big picture, the whole jigsaw puzzle.
I hope the parents that attended the workshops take away the knowledge that their child will be okay and can have a happy and successful life. We hope we have been able to show them some deaf role models to demonstrate the potential their child has as well. They are exposed to so few deaf role models in society, and that it's okay to use sign language, irrespective of whether or not your child has an implant. It is still okay to sign with your child.
I think we're at a place in New Zealand, just in general society, where the awareness of New Zealand Sign Language as an official language, the awareness of deaf people having a really valid place in the world, means that when these little ones are identified through newborn hearing screening, there's a whole lot more aspirations that can be there for parents, so a huge sort of positive path that can be taken.
Our expectation is that deaf children will achieve at the same level as every other child in the system. We hope parents leave here with more knowledge, that they feel more confident about the way ahead, that they feel more confident in the decisions and the options that they've got for their deaf child.
The Hui, I thought, was an excellent idea. It's been a really great resource for us, and we've learnt a lot.
We really value having the opportunity to talk to other parents and hear what they've been through.
There's something quite powerful about walking into a room, and amazing to just know that people get it, they just get it.
Got a lot of good friends from this weekend, a lot of people to talk to afterwards, so yeah, it's good. I think you just got to find out what's out there.
Thank you so much. Really well put together, fantastic topics. You know, I've answered quite a few of our questions, so thank you so much.